Gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Forsaken Council Open Mic, Season 2, Episode 35. I thought I was going to get that wrong. So tonight we are going to discuss the Axiom, the changes to it, and of course we're going to discuss some PvP. Sorry, I had my YouTube on there.
Oops.
I don't know if you caught that, but
bloody hell!
I
did. I got it.
Blasted me my ears out there. Guys, anyway, before I even get going, thanks for the people that have joined so far. And just before I introduce everyone, if there's anyone watching in the chat and in YouTube, we'd love to get the panel forward tonight and get some people on to discuss their views on the game. So if anyone is in the chat and wants to join them, then please click the link in the chat and join us tonight. But in the meantime, I have the wonderful Brian.
Science.
Where's your little bag of
Someone
salt?
else needs to mute their tubes.
Right, George.
Evening, everybody.
And of course, the man, the myth, the legend. I haven't had to say that in so long. That is TSM.
Evening, how you doing? All right.
And Peter, how are you doing this evening?
Doing all right so far.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And Tripod.
Yep.
How's it going, bud? All right.
All good. You too.
Good stuff. Good to see you. So yeah. But firstly, obviously, we all know the Axiom chain gun turret. Everyone that entered Bounty was able to win it because it was put down to 1 point, which in a sense was great at the time. But I don't know. I mean, at the time it's like, yeah, Kicks out making amends here. But then seeing how powerful it is a little bit scary to sort of consider how many people have it. I mean, how do you guys feel about the Axiom at the moment?
Can I just be honest with one thing? I think it should have been made 501 points, not 1 point.
Agreed.
Because then you'd have to actually go and do something and not just join. You'd actually physically have to go and hit something. At least something.
But you still could have just joined 5 minutes before the end mark and generated one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But at least you haven't just joined 3 seconds before the end and still got hit and then still managed to get a turret that's just now quite changed the game.
Yes. Well, let me ask the guests that aren't TFCs tonight, TFC players. Tripod, how do you feel about the chain gun, the Axiom?
I find it pretty good. It's quite nice. I haven't built it yet, but I saw the specs and everything, and I did what was it? The pro tip? Who was that? Who made that? Was that Ren? Who said, go in and get the bloody thing. So I did that because I didn't do the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do another raid. I thought it was a raid what do you call it? Pre-handed to us. I thought it was quite a raid, so I didn't bother doing it. But
it certainly wasn't a very smooth ordeal, was it? To be fair, I've had nice.
We knew about the box, you know.
Yeah.
Every time they put up some new stuff, they're gonna put up box. Happens every time, you know. So I just took it easy peasy, you know.
Okay, no problem. Well, how about yourself, Peter? Sorry, excuse me. I don't know. I had to click your name. Peter, so have you built the Axiom? Have you used the Axiom? Have you hit a base that has an Axiom in it? How are you finding it? What's your
honestly, the Axiom looked interesting, but with all the problems that people were having with Bounty, I decided not to participate. I mean, it looks good, but on paper, but I've been hearing some, shall we say, interesting things about it. Like it doesn't exactly work properly under certain circumstances.
Okay. Well, I mean, it seems to me that the Axiom has proved itself to be a very powerful turret, almost scary powerful. It's had a real effect on the PvP. And as someone that took that view, because I actually did have someone PM me about this today, and I did think it would be worth bringing up. There's a lot of players that were very frustrated that the fact that the turret was given out at 1 point. Players that couldn't make it that weekend or decided not to participate, and then after the fact seen the turret given out at 1 point. I mean, are you kind of annoyed that you didn't?
A little bit, but on the other hand, with all the problems they were having with Bounty, I wasn't going to risk getting into it running into a bug and not being able to get the turret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I know some low-level players that did just clock in just for the turret. So it's, I guess it's, I don't know. I almost feel like because it was given at such a low level, everyone should have access to it. Not just the people that clicked at the end. I almost feel like they should just give that turret to everyone now.
But
Hell, why not put it in the Forsaken mission?
Wasn't the bounty supposed to be something? All the gifts or whatever is gonna go out in TLC or something.
Well, we're going to see it somewhere in the game, and some of those prizes.
Eventually.
Yeah, some of those prizes I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next raid because of the way that bounty played out.
Yeah. So we spent we didn't spend that much time then, and coins too. Then they're lucky us.
Well, can I, Aaron? Welcome to the show. I don't know if you've been on TFC before, but glad to have you here. But have you got a mic and is it working? No? Okay. No. Aaron, can you hear me? No? Okay, maybe see if you can get that working, but it'd be interesting to hear your view as well. Well, guys, TFC admins, Brian, George, you've probably got some stuff you want to say on the Axiom. Run away with it, bud.
Who wants to go first?
Check to George. I talked a lot about it last night. Wait, what?
Oh, God.
The challenger appears.
Hi, Lucy.
Hey.
Oh, God. Right, everyone drop out. Brian dropped out. Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't Brian. I was going to say. Right, everyone switch to Hangout Plan B.
Hey, Mark told me to come on. I'm just following Mark's orders.
I can hear it.
Oh, is that how that works?
Mm-hmm.
What's that me? I'm Mark too.
Okay. All right, Lucy, how, before we ask the TFC guys then, Lucy, how do you feel about the Axiom Turret?
Yeah. It's good. I've seen it in your base and it looks very good. And I think my opinion on it, when you told me that they kind of didn't want to retrofit it, I felt like that actually was kind of a good idea because it does seem really overpowered. So I felt like that was good, though I feel like a lot of people would be like bitching about it because they probably wanted to make it extremely overpowered. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, we are going to discuss that as well. We're going to get into that a little bit, the retrofit stuff, the so-called nerf that wasn't actually a nerf. We're going to talk about that as well. George and Brian, was it Brian that was going to hit first? Hit, I say, because he's going to really hit.
Does he get his salt out?
I mean,
Hang on, hang on, Brian.
Well, that's not really for the Axiom. If we wanted to go back to bounty, I'd bust this out. But
straight out the lab.
I mean, it's a really good turret. I mean, you saw the numbers. I did some math, but Ren corrected me on exactly how the final damage of a turret is calculated. And it was better than I thought it was initially. So that's really good. And I think one of the problems is it's too strong. Not only can it kill the fleets that it was designed to kill, that being the rages, but it can kill basically everything else too, because I think the highest is 11,000 concussive deflection and 50% turret defense isn't enough. Like there isn't a ship currently that we have in the tier 6 kind of bracket of ships that can deal with this throughout all the 7 deadly sins and all the Aura series. There isn't one, and there should be. The attacker should have an option too, and currently the option is to put war plating on to counteract that. But
I was just going to say, isn't there also a ship that boosts concussive deflection?
I imagine there is, but not by much. 1,500, 2,000 maybe.
The Survivor, is it? Or am I
It's not that much,
I think that's corrosive and maybe explosive.
Oh, is it? Sorry, my bad.
I'll take a look. I thought the Survivor had concussive deflection on it.
Yeah, I'll look as well. I've got it open, so let's see.
No, you might be right, and I might be wrong. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure that was what it did because I was looking at that as a potential option myself. But
even then, it's like
if somebody coined 4 of these turrets and put it right in the base, I reckon no ships could go in. With the current...
Okay, yeah, the
armor we
Survivor
got.
does have concussive deflection, but it's 11,000. Which I don't think would be enough to counteract the Axiom.
No.
The Inquisitor gives 2,500 concussive deflection. So not enough, not really.
Okay, and welcome to the show, Ren, and welcome to the show, Daniel. Good to see you both.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ren.
No,
Who's that? I know that voice.
Hello,
So
Ren.
crazy. Okay, George, I believe it was your turn, so I'll let you have your turn.
Well, I actually have hit 2 bases with these in them, and I've gotten into both, but I think part of it was the way that they placed it, and part of it was I don't know that it's actually reloading right, or that stack bonus thing. I don't think that's working right. I mean, it took out the first pride like in a heartbeat, but then I drove right by it with the second one, which was really weird. But it is very powerful. If you have like 2 of them in the base, and if you have some different builds for it, I don't see anything getting by him right now. Not in conjunction with the courage. I mean, the combination is massive for base defense. I still haven't. I've been trying to test the courage, and I haven't been able to find anything I can shockwave on. But the Axiom, the only thing that I've seen kind of iffy is the way that it fires, because it's supposed to have that what do you call it? The stack bonus for the wind up thing, and I don't think it's working right. That's the only thing I think that I've found on it. But it is one hell of a turret. I think I liked Mark's idea that they probably should have done it more than just 1 point, 501 or maybe 601, something like that would have been better, because now this is going to throw off a lot of things. Everyone that has Rage is partially built. Like, I have all blanks. I have a full fleet of blank Reyna and Rage hulls, and I'm not even going to finish them now. And I've lost all that time building them, because now it's, this is so prevalent in people's bases that it's not going to be worth finishing that Rage fleet.
I think I did actually say last week that the Rages has probably set a new record for the shortest shelf life of any PvP hull I've seen.
I think you're right. I think it just did.
No, but it has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. If you pushed them out quick, then you've had probably 2 weeks of just clicking back a basis. But
There's still plenty of fleets to go, places to go. Yeah, you can still get if you. I mean, didn't mind to jump in there, but there's a couple of things I wouldn't mind just saying. Right, the reason I just said that I think it should have been 501 for bounty parts, or 520 or something like that. That would, and don't get me wrong, I like the fact that lower level bases have got something to stop rages. I'm not saying, because it's going to take the lower level bases that aren't coiners and that sort of stuff. It's still going to take them a lot of work to go and get their base parts. It's going to take them a lot of work to use up all the res, because they're really res hungry to go and bow. They've got to understand how fire support works. So it'll make them a better player in the game, and it'll bring base design back into the game, which has been lacking, because you really just they've gone, oh, whatever, I'm not even going to put a guard in. Now they've got, oh, I stand a chance a minute. So there's a little bit of a bringing them back into the game, which is a good thing. But I do think to have got that, they should have actually gone out and maybe hit at least one base, or gone and hit one of those, obviously those automatic targets, and at least got something out of, oh yeah, I took part in bounty, I did a target, rather than just doing that.
True that.
Well, my puzzling question is, if Kixeye have a bounty in 3-4 weeks' time from now, what the fucking hell are we all going to use? Excuse my French. Like, what are we all going to do? We're just going to all sit there and generate bounty.
It's funny you mention that, because I don't want to see that monthly. I could see it quarterly, but if they make that a monthly event, it's just going to be too much.
I don't want 2 raids a month. I've said that already.
Yeah, that's going to be way, way, way too much. 4 times a year, I could maybe see it, but not the way that it's set up. Not monthly. Or
it's a quarter fixed base fleet, and it's a free fix for your complete guard, and it's half fixed for your attacking fleets. So it doesn't really
but even then, Mark, it's still a second raid a month,
Yeah, no.
I was thinking it should happen every weekend. No?
What? My blood pressure can't handle the thing you just said.
Where's that belt?
The Joker.
Mute that button.
Mute him.
Well, let
We're
me
gonna get the Cat 5 and 9 tails.
I will move along and ask Daniel. How do you feel about the Axiom Turret? We have already covered a lot. Is there any? I mean, have you used it? Have you tried it out? What do you feel about it?
I have 2 of them in my base, and it shredded a rage fleet just yesterday, and I found it to be very powerful. I love it.
Yeah. It's nice if you've got it built because you know you're probably fairly safe for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, interesting. Laredo said his own personal opinion, his non-mod opinion, which I think many of us probably would agree on, is that Kixeye released OP10 tech before OP10's come out, which is probably fairly true. On that point, Laredo. One thing I will say, I did actually ask. I don't know if I want to. Ren, did you have anything you wanted to add in about the Axiom Turret before I jump onto this next part about it?
It rocks. It's a great turret. And, the fact that a lot of people got it for 1 point, I think all those players who are always complaining they're always a farm and everybody can just walk through their bases now have actually a chance in hell at defending. So it's not too bad. I mean, it's bad for the high-end hitters because there's, the number of farms in the game has just gone down dramatically, or will be as soon as they add the turret. Great turret.
Yep.
Okay. So try and get some feedback there. Who's giving the feedback? Let me just. John. Sorry, John. Have you just joined?
He has, but he just got muted. John, you would need to unmute yourself.
That's great teamwork. Liam asks a question and Lucy mutes him. Great teamwork.
Good job, Lucy.
Nice job breaking it, hero.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to discuss as well. I mean, we obviously seen the change to the Axiom Turret. Some people were labeling it a nerf, and it wasn't actually a nerf at all. Basically, Kixeye originally put it in the retrofit lab by mistake, and then took it out of the retrofit lab after they realized that mistake. And I think we already said this on the show, but I don't think that it ever really intended on having that in the retrofit lab. And we can all agree that the turret is pretty overpowered as it is. But just on that note, I did actually ask Kixeye for some kind of response, and they did get back to me and say that the Axiom in the retrofit lab was a typo. And it is deeply, deeply frustrating because they're very focused right now on quality. They've changed the way in which they evaluate new content to catch this stuff early before it happens again. Basically, when they produce a tech item, they flag it as saying it's going to go in a retrofit or it's not going to go in a retrofit, and then it gets passed along the line of development. And the Axiom Turret was just flagged wrong. It was a mistake, and they accepted it and they apologized for it. So that is basically the official Kixeye response on that. I mean, how does everyone feel about that?
Well, I think they've set a new record in like less than 24 hours. Not only did they correct the error, they compensated everyone that spent uranium, like right off the bat.
That's the first time, I reckon.
I mean, they're trying. Clearly, they're trying.
But this is good stuff, If they're gonna say to people, "Okay, we make a mistake," it's all right. Do it. Put it on and do it.
Do I see Trent down there in the box? Trent. Is that you?
It is.
Next up
Because
on
I'm
DP
back.
Flashback.
That's why I'm back.
Trent.
Come in.
Trent is like the old school open mic every Saturday guy for the first year of TFC. I haven't seen Trent in ages.
And his mic ain't working though, apparently.
It's noisy.
All right.
I'm gonna drop out to let Mark come in because it's full and he can't get back in. So I'll drop out and let him come in. All right.
Okay. No worries.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Later.
See you later. Tell Mark to be quick, man. Like jump back in dead quick, Mark. We'll just give it a more. So, guys, going off of the Kixeye response, so everyone feels that was a correct move by Kixeye, and they
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. It had to be. It couldn't be in the lab already.
Yeah, pretty logical conclusion. Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if it
Just
was,
honest
then
mistake.
things would be even worse, wouldn't they? I mean, you'd just see you'd see holes melting in like nanoseconds, you know. So
I did check to see there's no concussive faction.
yeah, you know, I
Kinda
made
hoping.
a huge schoolboy error, and I don't mind saying this on air because everyone makes fun of me about something, but I thought that the Scourge was concussive, and before reading it, I just clicked it and changed my faction to it. So now, I literally like have one corrosive turret in my base that's getting a benefit, and that's it.
Well, it looks cool though.
It does look cool. That was what Mark said to me. At least
That's why I picked it. Just looking cool. I don't mind the bloody benefits.
well, I'd rather have the 20% buff on my hyenas, if I'm honest. But
Yeah, but
Well,
some
you can
of
retro
the
those
turrets,
now. It's fine.
some of the base turrets look like a sorry, Lucy, a dildo.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we've really given the Axiom turret a good discussion. We've covered the change that was made in a week, and we've discussed our views and feelings on it. So I guess now, I mean, my biggest concern, and I know we've probably covered some of this in the discussion anyway, but my biggest concern is where PvP is now. I mean, as a player that's kind of been away from PvP for a long time due to the way the game's been, to kind of coming back and really enjoying PvP again, I must admit, in the past month, I've thoroughly enjoyed PvP. I'm getting such a strong feedback from somewhere, like a radio that's had.
Trend.
That's not just you. Okay, I was hearing it too.
It was Trent.
Right. Yeah.
It was Trent. Sorry, Trent. I've had to mute you there, bud. So yeah, I mean, me as a PvP player, I don't know. I was enjoying it. I was like, great. I'm having fun again. I coined prides or whatever, and I got some rages together, and I was having fun again. And now it's like, oh, I just sit in my base now. Do you know what I mean? But it's not quite like that. Like I am still hitting bases. I did hit some bases that had some Axiom turrets in, but it's not. I don't know. It feels like the Axiom turrets kind of just completely deaded the playing field to a point where we're like, well, okay, let's just do some PvE again, you know. And I'm wondering if I'm wondering what's next. You know, I don't know. I feel like the turret itself, as good as it is kind of stalemated the whole PvP game across the board.
Just careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for, because I mean, we keep saying that. Then next week there's a TLC with a super overpowered new Conqueror hull, and everybody's crying about content overload. But I don't disagree with you, by the way. It is out of balance with the turret.
Do you remember the old thing we used to say? Baby steps. Stop doing giant steps. They're doing giant steps.
They don't do that.
I want to see like the flip flops between each side. Like the pendulum swings are really big pendulum swings right now. I want to see those little swings back and forth, not these massive ones.
Mm. Well,
it's not even a pendulum swing right now. I mean, it's just like, hey, guess what? All of your Conqueror fleets are useless. Pretty much. If the base has 5-6 of these Axioms well built and well buffed, maybe survivors, but the survivor has so many weaknesses that forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel that the Axiom's just gone too far. As great as it is, I feel like it's pushed it too far. Like TSM said, baby steps. You know, it would be nice to see some small, gradual steps, and we can progress and learn as players and develop our fleets and our tactics. Not just give us one big whack and say, right, here's rages, they smash every base in the game, and then 2 weeks later, whack, here's a turret, this kills every fleet in the game. You know, that's just ridiculous. That's a completely concept. Yeah.
But listen, we have seen that so many times in this game. So many times this things happens.
And they don't learn, do they?
No, because every time, it doesn't matter who's coming in from the other side and program the stuff. Otherwise, I reckon the guys, the manager of the coach or whatever now, they got a view. They want to do it the way, but they got a manager or director, CEO who says, "Okay, we're gonna put this in because we're gonna get a revenue out of it." That's business. It's okay, but people like us who's been playing the game for a long, long time, we know about this. So why do we talk about it? We talk about it because we want to learn, we want to give the feedback to other people just starting the game. It's been this for years.
Go on, Brian.
It's like they rely on massive impulse buys from people that sometimes can't follow an established pattern. Like this has happened with the Mudglets came out, and that was super strong. And then the sonar turrets and all the protection against corrosive came out, within a month. And I did some math earlier. It was like $125 and all the tokens to get the full Rage and Reynas out on the board in time for bounty. And I was hit with a couple of guys that did just that. They had the full fleet. They had it all sculled. My radioactive stuff wouldn't do much to them, so they even put radio plates on. And let's just say it was $100 a head to do that. And now they've had, 2 weeks? And then the turret's out, and now their fleet isn't completely useless, but it requires a significant refit at the very least. And so it's like, was that really worth it? Especially when you consider what they did when they made a lot of the bounty prizes cheaper. And these players were so good that they probably would have been able to get most of the prizes at the old price amounts anyway. So it's like, well, you spent all this money and you got the prizes, but you would have gotten it without spending that money. And these massive shifts back and forth just seem way too tumultuous, and they keep throwing the game out of balance, and that's not good. I think people might wise up and stop spending $100-something on fleet if they know it's just going to get countered within a few weeks.
Yeah, I have a theory.
Okay, go for it, Ren. Drum roll.
It's just a theory, and it's not an excuse to justify what they're doing, because I agree with everything Brian just said. And by the way, on top of the turret and the courage, there's also 2 portals that people can put on their bases. So the pendulum swung very, very hard towards the defender. But the whole thing about making pretty much every conqueror useless or very weak, to say the least, I think it's connected to a thread GD Raken posted on the forum 3-4 weeks ago, where he kind of let us know that they heard our feedback about the complexity of base hitting being too high and the complexity of the holes, especially the rivals, being too overwhelming for players. And where he said that tier 7 conquerors were going to be a lot simpler to understand and handle. I'm wondering if they're just not kind of like
they going back
cleaning up the slate to start fresh. Just
yeah, maybe they might be doing that.
Well, it kind of follows the trend of 2016, was it? 2016, when we had the PvP, PvE, draw the line, balance, split everything off, and that kind of put the game at a reset point. And we went into 2016 with a clean slate, and it was an absolutely great year for BP. I think 2017, if I'm honest, is just, I don't want to swear, but it's been an absolute mess. Releasing 2 series of 7 holes, and the Deadly Sins and the other ones. I mean, it's just been way too much crammed into this year, and I think it's just made the whole game just completely all over the place. So
and they are hard to drive and hard to understand.
I mean, we're talking some holes, you've got a 3 or 4 length page list of stats and special abilities. I mean, you need a bloody science degree to sit there and figure half of that stuff out. It's just. I mean, how can they even code that? I can't even understand it. So how can they code it? It's just
sometimes they can't.
We've got Brian.
Well, I don't know. I mean, does anyone else want to have a discussion on where they feel PvP is at the moment?
For me, it hasn't changed.
Hasn't
changed. Same. Yeah. No, it's the same. I don't build any defenders.
I've not changed at all. I don't hit as many bases as I used to. So
No, I'm back to basic, if you call it like that. I don't build any defenders. I might build a conga near and there. I build the things that I can obtain from the TLCs. That's it.
I think that they need to look at existing tech. Like, let's take the Courage, for example. That is supposed to stop the meta, the big fleets that are hitting now. And that's Inquisitor, Moto Missiles, Mudgluts to a lesser extent, Rages, and Liberators with the new Manus missile. That's pretty much the meta. And I think, in a sense, like, the good news is it stops the whole meta, or at least in theory it should. But the bad news is it stops the whole meta, and there's not a good counter option. If you look back through the Courage, its weaknesses are explosive and ballistic. And you can put explosive plates on there for about 10,000 explosive deflection, and people are. And so really its only weakness is ballistic, and there's not really a good ballistic option. There's a Survivor, and then there's the Penance Cannon is about the best you can get. But I think that there needs to be at least some sort, or at least one or two good options, especially considering that we have, over 10 holes. I think in the tier 6, we have a lot of holes. So one or two of those should be able to be used and used well. And we don't have that right now. So it's kind of at a standstill because there's no option to fall back on. There's no off-meta thing. The closest thing we get is an evolving meta where you put war plating on the Rages, but that leaves you vulnerable to radio. So people put in phlogiston turrets or the new launcher, I guess. And then that counters it. But there's not a whole lot of play left anymore that the Rage and the Axiom Turret are now in play. It's stale until the next thing comes out.
Yeah, and the thing is, they don't get you end of job. I mean, let's go back to tier 5. Tier 5, we saw a series of holes, Conqueror holes. But if you remember, 2 of them have actually never got a flagship. Right? There's no Spike flagship, there's no Malice flagship, and the Malice was almost stillborn because when it came out, tier 6 started rolling like 3 weeks after, right? And now they're kind of like aborting mission on the 7 deadly sins. We don't have all 7, and OP10 is coming soon, and they're going to start releasing tier 7 hosts. And we won't see end of job on tier 6 Conquerors. And I think it's, to be honest.
Not to mention, with OP10, they were also planning on something called weaponizing the outpost, which makes me think they're going to have turret slots on the outpost.
Scourge gone.
You're right.
Scourge gone.
Well,
I want that thing. It's so good.
I imagine that'll be some kind of. Do you think it'll be a regular turret, or do you think it'll be some kind of specialized weapon for a turret? Do you know what I mean?
It's got to be like a giant friggin' turret, like the thing in the middle of the base part targets.
No,
that's what Brian wants.
No doubt, it'll be 250 blueprint pieces collected from, raids. And
oh god,
14 salvages.
Ideas.
10 million, 10 million
points
per 5
We're just giving them ideas now. We're just giving them ideas. But
I want it to be a helipad where I can park my Blackhawks and just send Blackhawks against the enemies. How about that? I like.
We get UAVs, but they're like the ship from the Avengers. Like that's our UAV that we launch off of that.
I like that.
The Quinjet.
Okay.
Yes, but it's the outpost is way too big for like a normal sized turret, unless it's kind of like a portal where you build a thing kind of atop the outpost and there's 4 corners for 4 turrets and there's like significant buffs. It's
Can I have the Eye of Sauron?
Yeah, the Eye of Sauron.
Well, listen,
can we not have drones, guys? Can we not have drones like we do on the mega holes?
Oh god!
I'd rather
deploy drones. That'd be great fun.
I want helicopters.
The drones.
No, it's like the Cadies. It's the Cadies for our outpost. We have all the drones surrounding.
Bursts out loads of drones and just wipes. Anyway, shut up, Mark.
Oh, a swarm of drones surrounding the outpost. I like that.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Cadies.
Man,
Shipyard level 5 releases sharks with laser beams.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
man, we're gonna
sharks
have a
with
little thing
lasers.
in there for the shark with laser beam.
As long as you're going to drive it, Liam.
No, as long as I don't have to drive it, that's fine.
Sharks are self-driven.
As long as I don't have to like stop them in range.
Self-driving sharks.
Autopilot shark.
Google's marine biology lab is working on self-driving sharks.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
If they have a helipad type thing on the outpost, I want the Conquest X30 from GI Joe.
okay.
I'm gonna have to Google that, man. I
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And knowing is half the battle. Anyway,
But,
Yeah.
look at all these free ideas Chris
Brian,
just
that's
got.
it.
I hope they're watching.
Alright. Okay, guys. Well, I guess we've hammered out some of our speculation of upcoming content. TSM, was this the part of the show where you wanted to discuss some of the bugs and glitches we've been seeing since Bounty?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I just want to see if people are feeling. Now, I've had a message come into me basically from a player, long-term player, who basically put a ticket in concerning the dock. So the dock concept in Bounty was fantastic, and clearly it was a case of, yeah, we've got two queues, one to fix your Conqueror hull and one to fix obviously something else, whether it be your base fleet or to go out and do some PvE stuff at the same time. The problem is that's left a hangover. The hangover is now that it's gone back to a single queue. But some of the it seems like some of the implications of putting that twin sort of system in there has now bugged the main dock itself. So if you're the 5-minute speed up at the end doesn't seem to be working very well. And then obviously if you're fixing a set of ships and that sort of stuff, and you want to speed that set of ships up, it doesn't acknowledge the fact that you've added a coin or something like that. You know, you have to go out and maybe sort of like refresh your page, or go out into the open sea. Or sometimes actually take those ships out onto the open water, and then they're actually magically fixed, even though when you go to launch, it says that they're broken. I just want to know if other people are experiencing that issue, because customer services are saying that they've never heard of this, some of them, even.
Lot of issues. With the dock, sometimes the instant repair, or not in the instant repair, doesn't pull up, you know?
Hmm.
It's like when I have my one of my my docks or whatever outside of the map. I can't quick repair it, or what do you call it?
Correct.
I have to go to the map inside, or replay, or whatever. Same thing with the dock. Now,
Yes.
Well,
all the time.
My personal experience to answer that, TSM, from my own personal experience of the dock since the day Bounty feature was released, before Bounty started, is basically the same as what you're saying there as well. I cannot click instant repair. The gold button is just grey all the time. So to do so, I have to cancel the fleet that's currently repairing to then instant repair the fleet I want to repair, to then go back to repairing that fleet. But when I cancel repair on that fleet, I get the screen that comes up and says, you know, doing this operation.
It locks.
Please wait, and it locks, and I have to refresh. So I'm kind of stuck in this cycle because I can't instant repair, so I'm forced to cancel repair. But when I cancel repair, I'm forced to refresh.
And the thing is, that's having a big impact in the game, because I was doing some mega hull fighting last night with some of the guys and that sort of stuff, and I was defending. Obviously, one of our guys was attacking, I was assisting, so I was nipping back to do some fixing and that sort of stuff, you know. And actually, I was having to keep refreshing, and I was keep losing them, and I was getting him to post where his location was, and he couldn't post it because he was in the battle and that sort of stuff. So it's sort of starting to have some implications in the game, you know. And I couldn't go and support my alliance in doing things, so it's quite bloody annoying, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've not had that experience, but it is very annoying. I mean, I lost some targets on the map because of it. So
I've seen a pattern. I'm not sure, but if you look at it, it's happened most of the time if I had a flagship on. I'm not sure, but every time it's always been a flagship in the, you know, in the top spot, #1 spot. I'm not sure.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Maybe.
I've had it with all sorts. I've had it with maybe a ghost crawler. In fact, I was pushing out, what was it, some 4 Phoenix, and I was trying 4 Phoenix earlier on with a Zelos lead, just to go and see what I can do 91s and how well I could do. So in case anybody didn't have the flagship, could they still go and get titanium and that sort of stuff? And it worked very well, to be honest, using my FM tank. But I still then couldn't instant fix that fleet. It only got like 15 minutes damage, and I thought, right, I'll take up the ship set and press fix. It wouldn't do it. I had to keep refreshing the game, and it's just so frustrating.
But I reckon it's something.
I've had the.
Sorry, bye. You go.
I've had the repair, like the soft lock, where it's doing the thing. But I've also had where a damaged fleet comes in, and I click on it to start repairing it, and the start repair normally, that button is grayed out for like 30 seconds, a minute, and I can't even start repairing.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, all I wanted basically was to obviously to Kickstarter to acknowledge and in fact, I know they've acknowledged the fault because I know they've chatted about it. So it's been acknowledged that it needs sorting. It's clearly something linked to or a hangover from the bounty, because it certainly wasn't here beforehand. So that needs looking in, because if bounties are making regular, we don't want this back.
TSM, it was an issue.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It was an issue before that, because you have the same problem with the, what do you call it, the retrofit lab. If that outside the, it's not outside the map.
That's putting it on the periphery of your base, okay, and that's being able to click on. That's a different issue.
No, it's the same thing. It's similar. So maybe it's it's a connection. Yeah.
I know if you put your retrofit right on the outside of your when you design your base, if you put it in the corners where the red zone is, and then you can't actually access it, you've got to go up through the menu and access it.
No. Well, if you want to speed up the 5 minutes, you have to go up to the map and inside again.
No, I don't know that.
No, I have that issue for years, long time. I've never done anything about it. It's the same issue with the dock now.
I can't say I've had that before, but I've definitely. I mean, this dock thing I know it's affecting a lot of people, and I know the customer services there. Some of them don't actually know that it's an issue as well. But they've not had that information, because I've had a PM to me this evening, literally, in the game, and someone just said, "Oh, are you doing your live show tonight?" I said, "Yes," and said, "Could you please pass this up?" And basically saying that one of the customer services represents, I'm not going to mention the name, basically there's nothing wrong with the dock at the moment, and actually it must be something problem. Can you do the normal thing, clear your cache and all this sort of stuff, and that's not the situation. So
that's the code issue, definitely.
Well, is there been any other bugs as well, Mark? I know there's been a massive amount of bugs. I mean, several issues surrounding the traps and the portals.
Yeah, traps and portals. I mean, since the incarnation of the trap thing, since you've actually made it, your trap is only showing a health bar of 50%, and that was in the actual bounty itself. Now, I don't know if it's a visual glitch or whether that's actually an actual. It's only 50% because it's level 1, and maybe I haven't built level 2 yet, but maybe it goes up to full health at level 2 or something, or is it just visually, or is it actually busted and you're only getting half your health? So I don't know where that is, and I know that question's been fired in but not been answered yet as well. So all the armor points for it are either half of them are being wasted and it's not getting full health. But if it is getting full health, if it is only getting half health, and that's as far as it's repairing, my God, at full health, it's going to take forever to repair, because it's a really expensive thing to fix. It's worse than the launch pad. Yeah, Gren, sorry, mate, go on.
Just a comment. I don't know if anybody in the group has experience developing software. What clearly happened here is when you need two teams working in parallel on the same code base, you pick a baseline, and off of that baseline you make a branch on your code. So you have the regular game updates and tasks and TLCs going on the main trunk of the code, and then probably because this bounty was such a big feature, you probably had a small team working on the separate branch of the code, coding all the bounty stuff. Right? Then good practice would be, when the bounty stuff is ready, you got to reintegrate, like merge the code you created on the separate branch back into the main trunk of the code tree, right? And clearly that operation failed for them, because there's a lot of things, a lot of old bugs that we see back. I mean, not only new bugs that could be from lack of testing, but stuff like the pride losing prideful after a stun and not getting it back. That's an old bug that's being fixed, and probably when they branched off to code bounty, it was before that bug was fixed. And so somebody overrode the code that had the fix with the old code when they integrated back. Another one was another bug that was recently fixed and came back on FM. Remember, they implemented something that if you hit targets in FM after hitting 350 million, you got a little warning message saying, hey, you have all your points already. What are you doing?
Gone. It's gone, isn't it?
That's gone. That's another case where clearly they got the code from the branch that was older, and in the integration process, they overrode the newer code that had the message. So we can clearly see that quite a few regression problems where the code in the branch overrode the newer code in the main trunk by mistake. Somebody screwed up the integration of that code. And then all the little misbehaviors in the dock and repairs and whatnot are probably just new bugs, because I don't remember them back in the code in the past. I don't know if anybody does.
But still, Ren, is correct what you're saying, but it's still bad management. You know?
Oh, absolutely bad management. I'm just explaining.
But they have
people
done this for fucking, sorry my language.
Like, why does it happen? Not justifying that. It shouldn't happen, period. You're right, Fred. Sorry,
Sure.
go ahead.
But the thing is, I've been working in IT for 18 years prior to retirement, and I know facts about that. And this, I don't know why I'm playing BP. I'm playing because of the mates, you know. But Kickside needs something really, yeah, I don't know. But the thing is, I reckon they're changing underwear all the time. I don't know why. You know, underwear, people going in and going out or whatever. So
They need a proper QA department is what they need.
Sorry?
I think
It's more than QA, proper change management and configuration management on their code.
I think they need a Brian in the Kickstarter office, you know, just to sit there and do the calculations.
By hand, yeah. Testing is the word. Testing.
They just need a couple of little snotty teenage kids just to sit in the corner there and just play BP 24/7 for free, and go and try everything.
It's just a small student, whatever.
Yeah. Give him a couple of ham sandwiches and a free drink and a Kickside hat.
No, they'll be happy, man.
Yeah, I reckon Stu would be up for that.
I think he would as well.
I could do it for free too sometimes.
Well, also, while we're on the subject of... sorry, go on, Peter.
I was just saying I'd be willing to help with the QA stuff myself.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I do their math for them sometimes.
While we're on the subject of
and huggies,
the portals, I just want to say I've also been experiencing other issues with being able to move them and place them, and in base planner and in the live game, I can't really seem to do much with it. In fact, it only seems to, in my base, I only seem to be able to put the portal in one place, and that's it.
Well, I've overcome that personally. Ren's got to go. Okay, take care, mate.
Oh, hang on a minute. Just one second, Ren. Before you go, did you want to ask that question, Ren, that you were talking about? Sorry, I was leaving that to come on.
Okay, yes. I'll ask the question, but I'll have to leave you guys as you discuss it. It's just that next raid is a tech store. It's the last raid in the cycle. It's going to be a 6-7 day long raid and tech store. And I just wanted to ask the guys in the audience, considering the PvP game where it is, and considering that the next cycle is skirmish, what older tech would you like to see in the tech store? 2-3 items, I mean, each person.
Most guys, Tritons and armor.
Well, probably any sort of high-end torps and torp specials, you would think. Because obviously it's going to be a sub-raid coming up.
No.
Yeah.
I've been wanting the lockdown.
Yeah, well, Mayhem and the Fire Twister would be good, and the special that comes with the Fire Twister. I like to see them.
Yeah, they'll probably put Magnus Drive 2 in for super cheap.
People want some hydraulic
resistors.
Isn't
that on FM already?
Yeah, it's an FM already, but they put a
hydraulic resistors DSM.
Yeah, I've seen that's been quite popular. I'm just looking at obviously Robin did a poll basically, and some interesting ones have come up on that. So the D30R and the D33 slowdown, the Canon little D33 DR,
D33DR.
the DR version, that's really really good. And people, believe it or not, haven't got Phalanx 3 of all things, because it was one of those things that came out as a prize and then it hasn't come back for a long time. Even though you can get Phalanx 4, but sometimes you don't want it. Phalanx 4,
it was
one time. Phalanx 3 was in the Forsaken Mission for God only knows how long, and then they took it out.
And you can.
I'm surprised they didn't put it into like a permanent campaign or something.
But number 1 on the poll, number 2 on the poll is Tridents, and that hasn't been around for an awful long time. A lot of people use it. It's been really good. See you, Ren. Thanks very much, mate.
Take care.
But the number 1 thing that people have asked for is the current charge armors. Now we're moving over to a different system. Can they just make them as permanent blueprints? Which is quite interesting.
That would be nice.
That's it. Out of all the things, if you put all the other things that people wanted together and combine them together, that one request is the number 1 request, and it's basically stop doing charge armors at limited.
I would also love to see that, but I can tell you, you've got as much chance of seeing that as you have of.
Well, it's a money bucket, isn't it? It's a self-filling bucket, that one.
That's never going to happen. That's also, though, I feel that that's a point of they use it as a structure of balance as well. Not in a sense that you would think, but like see when we build fleets and they give you 3 options: auto hull, generalist, and skill hull. Now, realistically, you can only build one of them with the charge armors initially, and probably through the first 2 cycles. So instead of having players with the freedom to just say, "Oh fuck it, I'll build all 3," you have to pick one. And
I think it should be something different, mate. I think, to be fair, it just should have been a limited special, just one that you can go and win. It'd be in the limited tech store, and you can just go and put it on one of the flags, and it looked after that fleet, and that was it. So you couldn't just bomb it from one fleet to another fleet because it would cost you money to do so. But once you've won it, and then you own the damn thing, and then you could just go and put that particular special on a fleet.
But what
the one that the Anonymous has done.
Why not? Why not make it? That's a great idea too, and I agree with that, because I think that was partly the purpose of the charge armors. But another option, if they, instead of maybe making it open as a blueprint free for all, they could maybe make it come with a premium cost to apply it. Like, I don't know, that armor that charges you 30k uranium. Maybe they could put like a 50k uranium, 20k titanium charge on it per slot or something. I don't know. I mean, I know that's high, but it would be much better than having it as a limited.
I think one of the problems too is if you make it unlimited, they'd increase the price to adjust it. Like, it would be 40 million for a flagship and 40 million for the ability to put on infinite corrosive charged armors.
Well, I mean, given how many points that we need now already, that's the one thing I'm dreading to look at when the raid starts, is what we're going to need for points.
Yeah, that'd be
20 million
horrifying,
a plate.
Oh, because for all the people that are up to date, they're going to throw in 3 new limited flagships.
Hang on, Liam. Before we go off to too much of a tangent, let's finish Ren's question first. So, from the poll on our page, basically, which ran for a week, the top 10 were, like I said, armor charge to be a permanent blueprint and no longer as a limited item. I think they should just let those fade into the background and just do it as a special instead, like I said. Next one's Tridents, then. Next one's Agility 4 system. Next one's Hydraulic Resistors. Then it goes on to the Amphibious Missile System, aka the Model Missile Special. And then Gales, 1, 2, 3. And then this is a good one, the Zinth D4R base armor. There's not many people have got that. And then it's Zinth Reinforcement D4M, the base armor as well. And then Speed Upgrade, because that's not been around for a while. Like I said, Phalanx 3 is the next one after that.
I mean, I'll be conceited. Anything I use in any of my weird builds, because everyone complains that I'm using weird shit, right? So like
the little specials are brilliant. The little ones are very good.
D30R, yeah. What I'd like to see is the upgrades, like all the upgrades, so everyone has access to those again. And all, I mean, if we're going to be talking about the base and the PvP balance and stuff, bring out the base armors for everybody to get caught up. I mean, that's what the tech store is to catch up. So if you guys are if Kickstarter's looking to rebalance PvP again and smooth everything over, make it available.
Well, just before we all kind of flow into various other topics. TSM, you were, before I interrupted you with Ren's question, you were talking about you'd overcome the portal thing. Did you want to finish up on that?
Yeah, so basically, I was just going to flip into my base and have a quick, just remind myself what I did. So the portal thing, the way I managed to overcome it to do some movements, and you can do one of two things: wait till you get hit, because obviously you've got a lot of spare time, that sort of stuff, or just like take a risk and that sort and go for it. So I managed to move 2 of my tiles, basically just drop them out on in the farthest edge of my base, and I just used 2 of the from the farthest corner of my channel. I dropped them on the far side of my base, like I said, on the outside there, and I just dropped the portal on top of that and sat it there. And basically, I went and reconfigured my base in my base, you know, in the base planner. But I left those 2 tiles alone, and then basically, then you go back into normal view, and then where you've created your new slot for your portal to go in, you actually then click on the portal and you click rotate. And then you can move it to the new angle, to the new position. That works then. And then basically go and take those 2 tiles back away again and then go and put them back where you want them, sort of stuff. So the problem at the moment is the game has got a new piece of equipment that you can't rotate in the base planner. But if you, like I say, you use 2 pieces of random tile, chuck them on the outside somewhere, and then literally just drop it down on those 2 pieces of tile, finish off building your base, then go back into normal view, and then put that thing in its correct position, rotating it, which is what you can do in normal view. Like I said, you can rotate it at the 290 degrees. It's either east, west, or north, south sort of stuff. You know, that works well.
I've got a problem.
Sport's done it. It works fine.
The footprint of the new ones are too large. Yeah?
Northman, sorry, is Northman trying to speak? Because I think it's coming through very muffled, like you're talking for a radio or something.
I haven't spoken yet. I was.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure if it was you.
Somebody was.
I was hearing like a back feed, and it sounded like someone was trying to talk for a radio.
Is that me?
I don't think it's me.
No, Northman's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I'm talking about the footprint of the new turrets. It's too large. He's supposed to be putting some tiles on it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, bear in mind that the gate, call it, we want to call it anyway. Yeah. Okay, it's the center of it is your aiming point as well. So although it does take a lot of space, and we've already asked a question, I know Stu is asking it as well, is why can't I put any walls around it? You know, that's not possible. No. But then again, it's very hard. You don't have to think. You have to be too many. I thought I had to be like. Because when you drop it down, it sort of covers the whole tile slot, doesn't it, from left to right? But obviously, once you've dropped it down, it only seems to nick the corner. Well, you're actually safe for the rest of that tile. I did some testing. You know, if they reach the tile, if they reach halfway into the tile, it's still not going to get targeted.
Okay.
Okay, so it's got to hit the center of the darn turret sort of thing. So it's not as bad as what you make out, but it is frustrating you can't put walls on there.
Yeah, that's what I mean about the footprint. It doesn't look right, you know?
I'm sure they'll adjust it in the future or make some adjustments, but basically at least you haven't got to worry that, because I thought I had to put 6 tiles in because it was like, you know, it was taking up when you dropped it down, it was taken right to the edge of the 5th tile sort of stuff, you know, but that's not the case. You don't need to.
Well, I seem to not be able to move my portal at all. Everywhere I put it is red. In base planner, everywhere I put it is red. Like, there's nothing I can seem to do with it to put it anywhere.
I'll show you later, mate. We fixed forwards for him.
I don't know if it's me that's just, you know, being a bit of a tard with it, or if it's just actually glitched in my base. So you wage your bets on that. Okay, guys. Well, I guess we've covered a good amount of stuff tonight, but I did want to give you guys the opportunity to discuss any other issues or anything else you wanted to add into tonight's conversation.
Should we let Northman lead, shall we?
Yeah, I'll leave the floor to you guys, and you guys just chatter away with what you want to.
Well, unfortunately, I have not heard what you've been talking about. I came on late, but one thing I want to take up, I'm not sure if you discussed it, but this is what with the tokens for the Conqueror hole. You can still only get them if you have the gantry and whatnot, and I don't have that one.
You have to have
have you heard it?
You gotta have the mega hole built.
I don't.
Mega hole.
No.
I have the gantry and I can't do
that hasn't gotten fixed yet. I haven't heard anything in terms of time for when that's going to get corrected yet.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did we cover courage at all?
talking about the tokens. Oh, bloody hell. I wish we get a delete button. The ship tokens and the XP token. Delete.
I would like them to be a transfer token.
No, delete or whatever, you know.
Yeah, a transfer token. I think there should be like once a month. There should be a cash-in value for the tokens. You should be able to just trade them back in or something like that. I think that'd be really, really handy. But yeah, I'm not really sure.
It's too much because if they're going to continue with putting all the tokens in the ship and whatever,
it's getting hard to find the right one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a mess.
Tell me about it.
Already it's a mess.
Well, I just wish they would just give us tokens for everything all the time,
Yeah. Well, I want to see some tokens for defender hulls instead of just the Justice, because I have a nice courage that I would really like to get ranked. And has anyone else built them? Because I'm telling you, this thing is freaking amazing.
Which one?
I've built a courage, and I've got the second one cooking. I went with throwers for one and launchers for the other.
I went with launches with both of mine. I still got the other one's got. I think I got 3 days on the kind of half-built one first.
Wait for the TLC.
It's a good hull, mate, but I have killed a couple this week.
Yeah,
they can be killed.
I've drove past one. I've drove past one in the base, but I've not sat there and spent the 5 minutes killing it. I drove past one, and it seemed to be made of. It seemed to be firing glass at me, pea shooters. But I think it was just a build.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like mine is one shot and crap like stupidly. I've been trying to find something to test the shockwave thing because I'm trying to verify how many stacks it takes to shockwave, and I kill everything before.
You should test it against another courage.
Yeah, but it's unreactive.
Yeah. How are you gonna get it up next to it?
I don't know. Just figure that out. Put it on the map.
You can't, mate. It doesn't move.
You can't do it. It don't move.
It'll just be sat there at both ends.
Like put FEF it. Put it in a fleet and put the Wakefield tac module that boosts combat speed in front of it.
Combat speed 0, so it won't work.
Double zero.
Nothing is still nothing.
You'd have to give it piggyback.
And even then, it's unreactive, so you're not going to see shockwaves. You won't be able to test it because I did that with the Spite, and that didn't work out well because it's unreactive. I didn't realize it until after we started the battle.
I like the fact that the Spite's doing quite well against Rages.
Yeah.
It's a good little underrated hull still, and I've had a couple of trouble with some Spites. I've gone with a rage man. It's just sat there. It's like, yeah, come on, bring it. It's really funny.
I have one of the guys in my alliance. He's like a mid-level, and he didn't have much, and he keeps on getting walked with rages. And I had him build 2 Spites with the radon slingers, right? And man, he's happy as hell. I mean, they still get in, but he hurts the hell out of some of those fleets.
Mate, I had a guy just put lockdown rockets on his Spite, and I had a hell of a job getting past the damn thing. It was funny as hell. I was really chuffed. I was like, that's a really good idea.
I got one. Yeah, I got a lockdown on each one of those 2. It's hilarious. I mean, it's an old thing. A lot of people. He had tokens still to build the Spite, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'd like to see. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Kixeye bring out the Spike campaign again, just for giggles for like the mid and low level players, because the Spike's not a fix, but at least it'll put a dent in somebody.
No, I put in a Spike with the insurrection launchers on it, and it one shots those rages once they get close enough.
Spike's a good little wagon. I quite like it. Yeah, it's cheap to fix, cheap to build. It's a good little
100,000 deflection.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wish they would do the. I would love to see them run that campaign again. That would be awesome. That TLC. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I think all the level 5 ones. I mean, they probably won't. They should be able to just put in your campaign tower and just go. There you go. They're all there. Have them.
That would be an awesome idea, actually.
Just the level 5 ones, so anybody that's new into the game can just go straight in and get some level 5 bits and bobs. So. I mean, level 7's coming out soon, so we're on 6 and a bit, aren't we? So why don't just chuck the level 5s in and let them have them?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So could they put them in the foundry?
Or just in the foundry, hit level 50. There you go, take them, or level 40 or whatever.
You know what? Yeah, if you're level 50, actually, I kind of like this idea too. If you're level 50, you can get those right, and in your research thing, you can research tokens to build tier 5 Conqueror hulls.
Yeah, something like that would be good. That'd really bring people on.
That would be really good. I like that.
There you go.
See,
There's a moment.
y'all need to hire me and Mark to come up with like some sales plans for you guys.
It works. It works.
I will do the numbers and shout about weapons to put on your OP.
Right, I'm going to drop, guys, because I've got some stuff to do. But what I just want to say is, so we've had the something old. Liam's back. Something new comes on next Tuesday's show. All right, then, just so you're aware of that. So tune in and take note because we've got the something new coming. All right, and so I'll just say tune in for Tuesday. We know it's going to be obviously a little bit of a walk in towards. If it is Tuesday, that is, it might be Wednesday. A little bit walk in towards the raid. The preview. We've got one more week, yeah. But we might be able to get something out or some information, that sort of stuff. But something new is coming for Tuesday. So look forward to that show and tune in if you can. But I'm going to say goodnight anyway.
Cheers,
yeah, I'm going to be closing the
Later,
show
Mark.
pretty much myself now, unless anyone else wants to mention anything else.
I have one question then. Has anyone experience with that launcher turret? Is that helping against the rage?
No.
If they put warplating on it to stop your radon slingers, then you can use the phlogiston launcher. But that's really its only use right now.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you've got the ret flag and a retribution in your base with it, you know, you could stop rages before any of this stuff come out. You could stop rages 2 weeks ago.
Kind of, sorta. I've had some guys get past that.
See, in the during the bounty event, I only got leveled by 1 rage fleet, and that was it was kind of a lucky shroud that got me. But and that was using just 2 rets and a ret flag full of launchers and throwers. And my 1 ret can one shot a rage, but a rage can one shot me. So that was the problem. Do you know what I mean? It didn't have the defense. That's where the courage come in. So yeah, it is possible to stop them, even without the shiny toys. So guys, I guess as Mark said, next week we'll be discussing, hopefully we'll have some more information on the raid. I don't know if anyone's seen, but George did pin up, I'll put up onto the TFC page, that Kickside had announced the event and even the name. What was the name of it, George?
Steel Curtain, I think.
Steel Curtain. And it showed quite an interesting picture of a sub, didn't it? That everyone was
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
So guess
I'm sure you're thrilled, right, Liam?
I'm overjoyed. I mean, this is
Me too. I love subs.
Fucking subs.
It's an early Christmas present to me. All Kickstarter's got to do now is throw in a new modern version of the Switchblade, and this is just.
Hey, shut up.
Yeah, it's the Muddamissa for the skirmish raid. It's fine.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, that sub looks pretty cool. I can't wait to kind of see how it pans out. I'm assuming that in next week's raid, not next week, the week after's raid, we're going to get access to winning that sub, and that's going to be the hole you're going to need for the next raid cycle. So hopefully we'll get some.
I want to see you live, Liam.
You're all going to see it because I'm going to be putting out the videos first.
Oh, fucking hell! That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Coin those fleets.
Yeah, do that so mine looks really good when I put mine out.
I'm going to coin them so hard that I'm going to have to take a shower after. So guys, on that note, we will see you Tuesday, and like Mark said, we're going to have something new for you, and hopefully we will have some raid information. Let's hope and see. But thanks everyone for coming out. You've all been great tonight, and good night to everyone that come and watched. We'll see you again soon.
You too, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night. And